Holy smokes, guys, the world might have just changed right now, moments ago, and I'm smiling so much because there's so many people in the comment section who have been begging for this, literally for the past couple of months. People have been commenting nonstop saying, when is he going to do this? When is he going to do this? And I'm telling you right now, President Trump just signed an executive order that could completely reshape the way that big pharmaceutical companies do business in America. And yes, you know what this is about already. This is about ending misleading TV advertising for pharmaceutical companies. My goodness, this is so huge, and I want us to talk about it because this is radically important. So, welcome to the Adam C. Moreno Show. Hope it finds you well. If you like having conversations like this, please consider liking, subscribing. Now, let's jump right in. So the White House just shared this. I was seeing it on my phone. I'm like, there's just no way this just happened. White House says President Donald J. Trump just signed an executive order that represents the most significant action in a generation to rein in misleading pharmaceutical advertisements. My goodness. You see, this isn't just some memorandum. All right. This is a fight on a battleground that has manipulated the American public for decades. And things are finally happening right now with President Trump and our nation's HHS Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. They have drawn a line in the sand saying enough is enough. Here's RFK Jr. speaking about what just happened right now.
The president just signed an executive order that's an historic change in the way that pharmaceutical advertising is done on television. And the order basically reinstates or gives us now the opportunity to reinstate the 1997 rules. Prior to 1997, pharmaceutical advertisers were required to put all the side effects on their ads. Many of them didn't advertise because it lengthened because of what it did to the length of the advertising, and that the removal of that requirement in 1997, FDA changed the rule to allow them to report the side effects on a website or on a telephone, and they only had to report a few of them on television. And that triggered a proliferation of these ads. There's only 2 countries in the world that allowed direct-to-consumer advertising by pharmaceutical companies on television. We're one of those countries. New Zealand is the other. It's had a disastrous impact on human health, on people's relationships with their doctors, and really on the entire gestalt where Americans are led to believe that there's a pill for every ill. And that you don't have to exercise, you don't have to pay attention to your diet. Whatever goes wrong with you, you can fix with a drug.
So how much does this change the dynamic for pharmaceutical companies that have been advertising on all kinds of channels and even online? They're going to have to do a lot more specifically.
They're going to have to report all their side effects. In some cases, that might create an advertisement that's 4 minutes long. Back prior to 1997, advertising in magazines had page after page after side effects reported. And so we don't know exactly what it will do, but we know it's going to be better for the health of Americans.
It's significant.
Are you paying attention yet? They just did what people have been begging them to do for months, ever since Kennedy was on the campaign running for his own presidential election. And he just did it. Promises made, promises kept. Anybody, Kennedy is getting to work to change things for better and for always. This is the White House's website. And check this out. This is under presidential actions. Memorandum for the Secretary of Health and Human Services, the Commissioner of Food and Drugs. Okay, I'm just going to read a little bit of this. It's actually not that long of a memorandum, but this part really struck a chord with me. Check it out. The Secretary of Health and Human Services shall therefore take appropriate action to ensure transparency and accuracy in direct-to-consumer prescription drug advertising, including by increasing the amount of information regarding any risk associated with the use of any such prescription drug required to be provided in prescription drug advertisements to the extent extent permitted by applicable law, the Commissioner of Food and Drugs shall take appropriate action to enforce the federal Food, Drug, and Cosmetic Act's prescription drug advertising provisions and otherwise ensure truthful and non-misleading information in direct-to-consumer prescription drug advertisements. Are you kidding me? This text lays it out so clearly, truthful, non-misleading information. I was just in a hotel and I was watching a commercial for literally 5 minutes straight because I really wanted to consume all of this. And guys, I'm telling you, 95% of the entire 5-minute ad was they were all big pharma related. And only about 5% of all those ads had a time dedicated to mentioning the side effects. This changes that. This makes them more honest, more transparent. This is good. And here's Kennedy again, right outside the White House, talking about the larger mission and the CDC and returning it to all of its glory in this battle for truth and transparency. Check it out.
We're completely transparent in everything that we do. We're telling people what we know and what we don't know. And that was not true of the CDC in the past. It made assurances about things that, they put masks on babies, 2-year-old babies. 3 years, they told us it was science-based. It wasn't. It was a political decision. They allowed all of our schools to be closed. And that order was written by the teachers union. It hurt working people all across this country. They said it was science-based, but it was a political decision. We're getting the politics out of CDC and we're returning it to a science-based agency.
So you can see how this conversation actually plays into how information is transferred to the public, which is, again, talking about this ban on pharmaceutical advertisements or to make them more honest and transparent, right? And all this to say, RFK Jr. is simply not holding back anymore. He's not pulling his punches. In fact, just today, he mentioned this secret conversation with the president. And honestly, it was so surprising to me, and I love it so much.
So many times I've had discussions with him about a certain injury or illness, and how unpopular it will be if we talk about the solutions, which are going to hurt certain businesses. And he said, I don't care. He says again and again, I don't care. This is children. We need to save the children. Oh, I'm very, very grateful to work for him. I'm grateful.
Are you kidding me? President Trump just said he doesn't care if it's bad for business. He doesn't care if it's going to hurt these pharmaceutical companies. Why? Because he only cares if it's bad for people, if it's bad for children. And that's enough for him. We need to save the children. And while this is all going on, look at what the Washington Post just dropped. All right, look at this. Apparently, the recently fired CDC director who clashed with Kennedy is now set to testify in the Senate. So that's going to be really, really interesting again, because we've already talked about that, but it looks like we're going to be talking about it again in the future. But could I just share this video again regarding, because this isn't the first time that Kennedy has clashed with people at the CDC or people at the HHS, and I'm sure it's not going to be the last time. But again, I just mentioned how the culture we allows the culture we create. And right now, Kennedy is creating and setting a new tone for his agencies. And I love this moment that he shared. It's actually pinned on his X page just a few days ago. And to say that this went mega viral would be an understatement, because look at that, 25.5 million views. Absolutely bonkers. But you all know why? Watch this.
We are the sickest country in the world. That's why we have to fire people at the CDC. They did not do their job. This was their job to keep us healthy.
Thank you.
And I need to fire some of those people to make sure this doesn't happen again.
Yes, you do, RFK Jr. Come on. Go ahead, write support Bobby in the chat if you believe this. It went viral because it struck a chord, from firing people to shaking up industries to making sure that pharmaceutical companies begin to put a higher value on transparency rather than simply being a marketing company. You know what I just heard recently? It was that of one of the larger pharmaceutical companies, they spent about like 70% of its budget or something like that on marketing and 30% on developing their actual medicine. what are you talking about? Are you running as a media company? Are you a marketing company? Or are you in this business to save lives? And at the end of the day, that's what this is all about. And all I could say is this HHS, Robert F. Kennedy Jr., President Trump, and the entire Trump administration is not playing any more games. So tell me, should pharma ads be banned from TV? Is this the future that you see? Do you think this is a healthy step in the right direction? Is this everything that you imagined for the people who have been begging for this to happen, especially in my comment section and in Bobby Kennedy's comment sections all across the internet? I know people have been waiting for this, and I'm just so excited to see something like this come into fruition. So let me know your thoughts on this in the comment section. I made it this far. Please consider liking, subscribing, and have a good rest of your day. And turn on the notification bell, because why not? All right, thank you so much, and I'll see you next time. Episode's over already? Geez, that was fast. Well, they say beautiful things do not last forever, but feel free to watch and listen to another one of these episodes if you're interested in those conversations as well. Also, this next part is huge. Make sure to obliterate that like and subscribe button and turn on the notification bell so you never skip a beat. I also have a newsletter where we dive into the news, politics, and ideas that shape our future. If you're interested in signing up, I'd really appreciate that. Anyways, that's the end of this episode. Thank you so much for watching and listening, and I'll see you next time.